Hello and welcome. My name is James. I'm a grateful recovering addict and alcoholic. This is my live stream here on the YouTube channel, Soberdelic James, at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every night. Addiction and recovery. Feel free to chat. You are my guests. Consider me your gracious host. Make yourself comfortable and ask me anything. And share with me your experience, strength, and hope when it comes to your addiction and recovery stories, your location on your journey, and you know, maybe that joke too or two, that joke or two. Tonight we're going to talk about my alcoholism in its grips, my alcoholism in active addiction and deadly drug abuse stories. What up, Daniel Kopic, hailing from the UK. I am good as good can be. I am reminded daily to give it to the God of my understanding. I have been stressing on some things. As one does, I just got back from my home group. Yeah, as good as good can be, I suppose. We get in our heads a lot. Essentially, I am a drug and alcohol addict, and my problem is James. Q, UAA 99, Q, Qua. How you doing, Qua? Welcome. Well, I'm glad. Well, how are you doing? That's the question. What up, Meeks? Let's go, he says. How you been, Tim? Thanks for being here. Thanks for commenting and tell me a little about your day, your week, your month, and even your year, friends. Michael, how are you doing, my man? Are you anywhere close to sustainable serenity, forgiveness, letting go of the past, forgetting about the future, and staying in the present? My thoughts are with you, Michael. Hey, Christy, thanks for commenting bright and early. Good morning to you, too. I guess I'll start by reading the daily reflection of Alcoholics Anonymous to get us all started on this one day at a time journey. Michael, you're not doing very well. Well, I hear you, brother. Try to give it to God. Ask for God's will. If you don't have a God, you can borrow mine. Just realize that you're not it, and you don't have to struggle and drive the bus of life or direct the play. Let's see what today's Alcoholics Anonymous daily reflection says. If you'd like to read along, it's on my community tab on my channel, Soberdelic James. Spiritual health is the title of today's daily reflection. May 23rd. When the spiritual malady is overcome, we straighten out mentally and physically. Alcoholics Anonymous, page 64. It is very difficult for me to come to terms with my spiritual illness because of my great pride, disguised by my material successes and my intellectual power. Intelligence is not incompatible with humility, provided I place humility first. To seek prestige and wealth is the ultimate goal for many in the modern world. To be fashionable and to seem better than I really am is spiritual illness. To recognize and to admit my weaknesses is the beginning of a good spiritual health. It is a sign of spiritual health to be able to ask God every day to enlighten me, to recognize His will, and to have the strength to execute it. My spiritual health is excellent when I realize that the better I get, the more I discover how much help I need from others. Bada bing bang boom, spirituality is in the room. Going to inpatient rehab you're thinking about, huh? Amanita panthera. Amanita muscaria is, it's kind of mellow. Christy, ask God for the guidance, and I'm sure you will get it. Mike Tucker, did you ever have a night that the embarrassment over what you did was worse than the hangover? Yes. Countless. Pitiful and demoralizing, pitiful and incomprehensible demoralization. The pain of how we acted when intoxicated is something that the steps will take care of. Nathan, how you doing, bro? Doing okay. Problems with neighbors, but I'm grateful as always. 100%. How are you? Yeah, I'm somewhere in the middle. A little frustrated with trying to be independent from the workforce, but my AA meetings and my home group helped tonight. What's up, BJ? Love all the we in here. Let's pause, believe, and receive. Thank you, BJ. It is a we program. The very first step starts with the word we. We realized we were powerless over alcohol. We came to believe. We, not I. Christy, yes, absolutely. I've been embarrassed over things I've done. I think we all have. How about you, Mike Tucker? You weren't exactly proud of sleeping in that bush, were you? Amanita, Estonia, huh? Well, yeah, the Amanitas do have sedative properties. In fact, they have anti-anxiety properties as well, at least some of the weaker ones. There is an Amanita that Paul Stamets talks about that will literally paralyze you, so be careful with that, bro. Rogilio Madreno, what up? Thank you, bro, for your channel. Well, thank you. I'm glad to know it helps. I'm just a drunk trying to get along, so my doubts and fears do manifest sometimes, so I do appreciate the reminder that you're getting something from the channel. Thank you. Daniel Kopic is practicing plant medicine, probably overdoing it a little if I know him and if I know addicts. Qua 99. Nathan says Andrew Tate seems to have the answer, and I do believe money is made up. You believe money is made up? Andrew Tate. I hear about Andrew Tate. Somebody told me I remind them of him, and I was quite offended. I wasn't offended. Who knows? I don't know enough to be offended. Oh yeah. Okay. Well, be careful with that. Yes. The embarrassment and the pitiful and incomprehensible demoralization they talk about in the big book. Every single one of us has experienced humiliation by what my auntie calls the demon alcohol. What I've learned, though, is that alcohol is just another substance. It's just another mind-altering, can be a medicine, can be called a drug, it can be called a demon alcohol. But the problem is me, and when I would drink it, the problems would surface. I've been notably passive in my life, just due to my upbringing. And when I would get drunk, all of that passiveness would just turn to aggressiveness. So I would leave the passive at the door and manifest aggression. And I'm not talking mean and intimidating necessarily. I'm talking just too hot to handle, too cold to hold. Somebody better call the Ghostbusters because they in control, that kind of shit. But yes, I have, and welcome to any of you that are just now commenting for the first time and watching for the first time. I appreciate your viewership and your subscriptions. And those of you that are members, I appreciate your membership. Those of you considering membership, I will gladly direct you on how to do so. Christy, I appreciate your messages, and I'm glad you enjoy the daily reflections. I'm glad to hear that you were meditating, praying for willingness to believe today. Progress, not perfection. It's a step in the right direction. My drinking days, BJ. Hello, Hillary May. I do take Venmo, BJ. Cash App, Venmo, or Super Chat. If you would like to see a James Brown on the scene, you can hit that little money sign at the down at the bottom of the screen. However, that would give YouTube some of the money too. Yes, you can use my number, BJ, if you would like to support this channel in carrying the message to alcoholics in need. And I'd like to think I'm bridging a gap between the 12-step programs and those who are fearful of rumors that are false, like it being a cult or it's just some big sex party. Whatever your fear is, it proved to be my addiction doing the talking to keep me away from 12-step groups. Right on, Christy. The big book is the truth. That's where you'll find the AA program. A lot of people will walk into a meeting of Narcotics Anonymous or Alcoholics Anonymous and get turned off by the personalities. Well, there's different meetings with different personalities, and also it's principles before personalities. Fair enough, mate. Daniel Kopic is tripping on some Amanita Bimbly Skimberless. Kinda is a sex party, Kopic. What you mean? You never been to a meeting, mate? Sometimes I wish it was a sex party, and I'm sure some people would agree. Sex is just another easier, softer way to pleasure. Well, I don't know about easy. And sometimes I don't know about soft, you know what I'm saying? Oh, shit. Anywhere you go with the opposite sex and you share and become friends with them, well, that's going to lead to... How do you know, Daniel? That's your brilliant brain telling you, and your brilliant brain is the one who had the brilliant idea to take those mushrooms. Trust me, I got the same brain, so no sense in arguing. Sobriety and recovery. Sobriety is a state of being. Recovery is a practice, would be my first answer to Bias, who asks, what's the difference between sobriety and recovery? But not much. They both encapsulate the same thing. It's a practice of doing the next right thing, being a good person, making amends, admitting we were wrong, promptly admit it, trusting in God, cleaning house, and helping others. Sobriety and recovery, those are very similar but different definitions. But in a nutshell, you practice the progression of your recovery from the seemingly hopeless state of addiction and alcoholism. And more and more achieve a state of sobriety when you practice. Recovery, literally, I take recovery to mean recovering from what we went through, a very traumatic disease that created traumatic events in our lives, the separation of loved ones, relationships, jobs. Some people become homeless. It's very traumatic. We essentially have PTSD. We've been torn up inside by our obsession and compulsion to chase after that high, that drunk, that feeling. I was on another channel today, the video of me being interviewed. It's a channel called Progression Health, I think, a small YouTube channel, and he asked me, what does sobriety mean to me? And I love this question. Being sober is not just putting down your drug of choice or putting down alcohol or putting down your sex addiction, your work addiction, your food obsession, your compulsive eating disorder. It begins with putting down your drug of choice, but sobriety starts with recovery. Sobriety is a state of being at peace, happy, joyous, and free, making value decisions based on values of right and wrong. Sobriety is a state, to put it bluntly, I've been just dry from alcohol before and not sober. I hadn't had a drink in almost 8 years, from 2016 to 23. And towards the end of it, as I wasn't going to meetings and practicing the principles of recovery, I wasn't sober, now was I? Sober has a definition in Webster's dictionary that says free of alcohol intoxication. I could use that by definition, say I'm sober, sure, but I personally know I'd be lying to myself. My sobriety these days is as tip-top as it has ever been. My recovery as well, and that is all due to practicing the principles of Alcoholics Anonymous and making meetings. Also turning my will and my life over to the care of God as I understand Him every day. It's a daily reprieve. I'm seeing a lot of new commenters. What up, Gage Strickler? Ever heard of naltrexone or the Sinclair method? Yes. I briefly spoke with Christine, I think her name is, from the Sinclair method, like a representative or something. Naltrexone. This is a term that's been on my it doesn't hit me right now. I can barely remember it, but I do know I don't necessarily agree with the Sinclair method or naltrexone. Me personally, and I'm a classic hopeless alcoholic when in the grips of my addiction, my willpower will mess my world up. My willpower is the one that gets me drunk. When I hand my will over, when I surrender fighting, and I admit powerlessness over alcohol, I can then begin to recover. Let's look it up. What's up, Alex Patience? Thank you all for commenting. Here we go. What is the Sinclair method? Whoops. This technique is largely attributed to researcher John Sinclair. In this method, patients take the opioid blocker naltrexone in pill form an hour before drinking alcohol. This is meant to limit their desire to drink because the naltrexone blocks the typical buzz or good feelings one might get from drinking. Right. The reason I don't agree with that is because my disease is in my mind. The disease of alcoholism is in my mind. It's also in my will. It's in my bright ideas. And my bright idea would straight up be like, I'm not going to take the pill and I'm going to get drunk. I can say this for sure because I do have tools to prevent me from getting drunk, one of which is call your sponsor before you drink. And there's been times in the past, before I've had a spiritual awakening as a result of the 12 steps, that when I plan on drinking, I'm not calling anybody. I'm planning on drinking. And it's a train that doesn't stop because it's a disease of the mind. The mind is like a unstoppable train, and then when you hit that alcohol, the body experiences an allergy referred to as the phenomenon of craving. Every single drunk in this chat can relate. There is no off switch. 1 is too many. 1,000 is not enough. But yes, they are. Big Pharma is trying to sell treatments and cures to alcoholism, to opiate addiction. In my personal opinion and experience, these are just a waste of time. I have gotten high off of methadone before. It put me in the hospital. Me and my sister were doing methadone. And my sister Leanne recently passed from a heroin overdose, has been on Suboxone and methadone for probably a decade. And one night when I was drinking, a long time ago, we got high off of it. And my shoulders froze up like this. I ended up in the ER, got another catheter, woke up, was drug seeking. It was crazy. I'm no stranger to the ER. And it's because of my spiritual malady, like what Stephen Foss is talking about. It's because of my mental disease. I'm obsessed. If you give me a pill that cures addiction, I will get 5 of them and break them up and snort them. Because if one does something for me, then 5 is going to do more. So I don't believe in Suboxone, although I'm not a experienced heroin addict, but I am an experienced addict, and I believe it's all the same. It's a mental disease and a spiritual malady. To take a drug that makes me throw up, there is a drug called Antabuse, I believe, that makes you throw up if you drink alcohol. There's a very simple solution. My obsession will not take that drug. And the same goes with naltrexone. There's more to the Sinclair method. These are just my opinions, but they do come from decades of experience with alcoholism. There is one method that has lasted the test of time, and I'm talking 89 years. That's damn near a century. It hasn't changed, and it's called Alcoholics Anonymous, the 12 steps. If you go to any rehab, they're going to take you to Alcoholics Anonymous. It's like paying 30 grand for a big book, which you can get one for free at your first meeting, or you can get one online for like $9 to $20, something like that. But AA doesn't want your money. They only do that to pay rent, maintain the, the offices. Sinclair method, using medication to reduce alcohol use. The other thing about this is Big Pharma is not to be trusted. Big Pharma wants your money. Big Pharma will tell you, pay me money or die. Big Pharma being the corporations that invent this stuff. They make opioids, they make Xanax, and they make naltrexone, Antabuse, and stuff like that. Again, this is just my opinion. Not just my opinion, this is my opinion. The Sinclair method is meant for individuals who may want to or are not ready to cut out alcohol entirely, but want to drink less. This technique is largely attributed to researcher John Sinclair. So, right off the rip, that tells me it's for non-alcoholic drinkers. They're having trouble in their life from drinking a little too much, but the alcoholic is an entity that's separate from the non-alcoholic person. We have a mental obsession coupled with a physical allergy. The mental obsession will be patient and work on you, sometimes for years, until you have that first drink. The first drink triggers an allergy known as the phenomenon of craving, where all bets are off. Now you might say, James, I'm an alcoholic and I've had 2 drinks before. Here's the deal. Did you enjoy it? Because when we're controlling our drinking as alcoholics, we're not enjoying it. When we're enjoying our drinking, we're not controlling it. Never both at the same time. And this produces problems. Medical treatment like that is a business, though. They make big bucks. Exactly. Big Pharma makes its billions of dollars, just like rehab. Rehab is billions of dollars. Essentially, the opiate manufacturers get you hooked, and the rehab companies claim to get you healed, but they just take you to NA, AA. Alcoholics Anonymous has one primary purpose, and it's not money, it's not sex, it's not power. Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, these have one primary purpose. It's to remain sober and to help you get sober, period. Big Pharma loves addicts. Just look at the opiate industry. Fentanyl, that's Big Pharma. Everything's Big Pharma. All the opiates, morphine, codeine, heroin, nicotine is Big Tobacco coupled with Big Pharma. Big Tobacco and Big Pharma are in bed together. One will get you hooked on nicotine. The other will invent what's the pill that my mother used it to quit smoking? Cymbalta, not Cymbalta, or not Strattera, but anyway, Big Pharma comes up with these pills that will get you off of nicotine. Meanwhile, they're at the bar together with Big Alcohol, celebrating their winnings. Oh, shoot. Big Alcohol, Big Tobacco, Big Pharma, and you can bet your ass Big Cannabis is on the scene now. And right around the block, Big Mushrooms. Big Psychedelics is on the horizon. There's already clinics that are charging people money. So, to answer your question about the Sinclair method, if I was a casual drinker that could take or leave it and just was annoyed with how much I drink on the weekends, sure, I might consider a pill to help me reduce my desire to drink. For the alcoholic, and you're either an alcoholic or you're not. There's 2 types. There's the alcoholic and there's the non-alcoholic. I am an alcoholic. A pill is not going to stop me. I wrapped my Ford Explorer around a tree, woke up 2.5 months later from a medically induced coma with this side of my body crushed. I had to learn how to walk. I had to learn how to talk again. And the first time I could walk with a cane, I was walking to the bar. And I pissed myself at the bar. And it really didn't even matter if anybody noticed or not. It's pitiful and incomprehensible demoralization. Shades of clarity, you know what I'm talking about. If anybody wants to hear that story, there's a video on my channel. Just look up Drunk Driving Sober James, Soberdelic James. By the way, just a heads up, I'm seriously considering changing my name back to Sober James. Even though Soberdelic James is one of the, it's got a lot of search traffic. I don't know if I don't know if it's the right thing to do. And I might just take the hit of less traffic to change my name back to Sober James. It might be Sober James and the 12 steps. I'm still meditating on it. I'm not sure. I like Soberdelic, but it's not in line with my purpose anymore. Yeah, thanks for watching, Shades. That's a hell of a story. In 2007, I wrapped my Ford Explorer around a tree, woke up 2.5 months later from a medically induced coma. I was 68 pounds lighter. There's a picture of my face on one of my videos. There's a picture of me in the coma that my sister took. So the problem with the name is I've already been in 2 interviews that people want to talk about my 11-gram mushroom trip. Here's the problem with mushrooms. Psychedelics do have benefits as far as spiritual benefits, emotional, ego-dissolving properties. However, I read them, Stephen. I'll read them again here in a second. I will, Holly. But the problem with cannabis and mushrooms, 2 seemingly medicinal, fairly harmless things, is that I'm an addict. I have a disease of the mind. I obsess over them. All these years that I've meant to microdose mushrooms, I haven't microdosed once. I have always taken at least 1 mushroom, and I've taken up to 28.5 grams, an entire ounce of mushrooms. So, if that doesn't prove to me concretely that the obsession of the mind is real, and even cannabis and mushrooms are not harmless for the addict, this addict at least, but I'm going to venture out on a limb and say we are obsessed with finding pleasure in the easier, softer way. If I have weed, I'm not going to live life. I'm not going to pursue satisfaction, gratification. I'm not going to pursue those things because I have it in a joint. I proved that to myself for 2 years and then relapsed on booze. My spiritual condition was becoming bankrupt again. I was drifting away from AA and closer to the bottle. Whether I was going to admit it or not is not relevant. It is, as far as I'm concerned at this point, a fact. Another fact is meeting makers make it. John Venturini, what up? What up, Tramiel? It ends up being a question of one firefighter over another, and until we figure out why we seek a firefighter, the hope is that we find the lesser nefarious of firefighters. I've been asked before, now that you don't drink, aren't you just addicted to Alcoholics Anonymous meetings? The answer could be, sure, why not? They say things like, don't they just brainwash you? I say things like, my brain needed a washing. But in the way that they meant brainwashing and addiction to AA, no. You're simply giving up deadly addictive behaviors and replacing them with esteemable acts and a life worth living. Becoming a contributing member to society, serving others, love and tolerance is now your code, not hate and aggression. You give up fighting everyone and everything. You're looking at an example. You are looking at an example, and as soon as I get my word from God on whether or not I should, in some way or shape or form, release a video or all of them of my drinking days in my relapse, I will get my answer, and you will, well, those of you who have been watching me for a while know I am living proof. I'm not bragging. I'm not proud. I am grateful that I can be of service instead of being a casket. You can either be an example in the casket of the deadliness of addiction, or you can carry the message as a truly recovered addict and alcoholic in life. I'm truly grateful, and I only hope and pray that I am worthy of being an example enough to convince addicts in need. However, there is frustration that comes when you take an AA meeting to a detox center and you see your old self sitting across from you, wallowing in their selves. The bondage of self has not left its grip on them, and no matter what you say or do, they're not going to get it. That's why I say alcoholism, addiction, takes what it takes. A power greater than you can restore you to sanity. And this entire time, these 20 some odd years, you think you're driving the bus and you're white knuckle steering the bus, and I just kept crashing it into bars and shit, getting out and wasted. And, well, my therapist, my shrink, my psychotherapist, psychologist told me, James, weed is harmless for most people. It is not just weed for you. And instead of listening to him, I wasted 10 years trying to prove him wrong. Not just trying to prove him wrong. I was trying to get high, but also trying to prove him wrong. And look, man, I guess I should stop adoring and putting weed on a pedestal. You know what I mean? It is what it is. For this addict, I will obsess about it. I literally was growing it. Every waking hour was smoking it. You know what I mean? I was going to dedicate my life to it. I named the channel Sobriety James because I was on plant medicine and mushrooms. My addiction took me by the balls, DDT'd me, slammed me, and knocked me out like Mike Tyson. Straight up. You know what I mean? Stephen Foss, I watched you through all of that, James. Mushrooms, marijuana, alcohol, strange roommates. And I suggest you do not remove those videos. That's evidence and can only help us. My fear is that someone will find the channel and then watch that, and the stuff I speak about AA is the truth. However, a lot of the anonymity from Alcoholics Anonymous and the traditions exist because the writers of the traditions knew that alcohol is powerful. People will relapse. Stuff will happen. We're just a bunch of drunks trying to get along. We try to stay out of the public eye, this, that, or the other thing. So it is unethical and irresponsible of me to be doing that shit. I'm thinking of somehow trying to put a disclaimer, make it a good example. I would have to interject with my sober self so you could see the comparison. I mean, just my appearance. My attitude, my appearance, it's a paradigm shift. It's a 180. It's not two different people. It's just two sides of the same coin. One is self-seeking, selfish, malicious at times, lying, cheating, stealing to get that buzz and all of that. And even to myself, lying. The other is honest, forthright, transparent, interested in doing for my fellows, interested in doing the next right thing. We all have these two sides. In the steps, specifically 4 through 7, you ask God to remove your character defects, and you drop those rocks. Just because you own a character defect, and we do own it, it is a part of our personality, these character defects, whether we be stubborn, fearful, aggressive, angry. These are character defects that we do own, but we don't have to use them. We also own kindness, love, compassion, giving. We own these characteristics too, but we do have a choice. Stay safe, stay sane, stay strong, stay sober. You're worth it. Right on, JV. From the Venture Forward, John Venturini. Go check out John Venturini's channel or John Venturini's story here on the Soberdelic James channel. Just alcoholism recovery stories, Sober James, John's story. You'll see his picture. I'm sure he wouldn't mind you watching. Sober or Soberdelic, thank you for being part of my journey. You too, John. I mean, shit. We've known each other now. You, me, Holly, Stephen Foss. We've known each other 3 to 5 years now. It's crazy what recovery brings together. We are a lot that normally does not mix. We have a common enemy, and it brings us together. You know what I mean? Now we got new heads, shades on the scene. Topic, you're an old friend. Since 2019, hashtag Hollyfode. Pat Crawford, can someone in recovery safely take prescribed Adderall for ADHD? I hope so, because I do. Here's the thing. We all have drugs of choice. Mine has never been speed, caffeine, cocaine, or Adderall. My prescribers know this because I made myself accountable by telling them myself. I said, do not ever prescribe me Xanax, alcohol, or Adderall. I'm good with. Back maybe in my teens and 20s, might have tried to take Ritalin or Adderall to get high. I immediately discover that speed is not my thing. I'm already anxious enough. We all have different personalities. We're all unique. And that's what basically, in my opinion, dictates our drug of choice. Our past and our present personality and our past traumas. You know what I mean? If you're anxious, you're going to want Xanax. If you're depressed, you're going to want cocaine. I've been depressed before, but with God's guidance, I take the lowest dose of Adderall, extended release. It's 10 milligrams in the morning. It's mostly when I get my YouTube stuff done and I get some stuff done. Adderall is speed. It's an amphetamine. Amphetamine salts. It says it right on the container. What you talking about, Kopic? Everything became a blur. Yes, here's the thing though. Who was that? Bunch of comments hit the screen. Here's the thing though, commenter, about Adderall. If your drug of choice was Adderall, the answer is no. I cannot be prescribed Xanax. I have told my prescribers this, and for years, even when I went seeking it, that tool worked. The tools of recovery are plentiful as long as you use them, one of which is you tell on yourself. I told the prescribers at the VA for antidepressants and anti-anxiety, do not prescribe me benzodiazepines. I'm powerless over them. Benzos, in case you don't know, are essentially booze in a pill form. Instant relaxation, instant forget your troubles, instant calm. I don't mean to tempt any of you, but there's a reason it has such a high street value. It's a medicine that Big Pharma invented that works like a charm. It works so good that addicts like me will take 8, 9 milligrams, 10. I'm not sure because blackout came, 4 or 5 milligrams ago with the alcohol I was drinking. So to answer your question, there it is right there, Miss Ford, a fellow addict in recovery. If you don't mind me saying so, Miss Ford, her drug of choice was Adderall, or one of her drugs of choice, speedy things, Adderall. She tells us right there on the screen, if she took Adderall again, she'd go off the deep end. For me, no. Somebody back me up here on being able to leave one drug alone and not being able to stop staring at the other drug on the table. If there was Xanax right there and cocaine right there, I barely would even know about the cocaine. I would know exactly where the Xanax is at all times. If someone takes it off the table, I'd know where it was going. I'd know who has it, and I would be obsessed. The cocaine I could care less about. However, I did tried using cocaine for not a long time. It just wasn't doing its thing. It doesn't do it. Tinfoil hat, try going to YouTube and making sure YouTube is sending notifications to your phone. There's 2 steps in getting notified for my videos. One is clicking the bell for all notifications, and the other is going to your YouTube app and making sure that your notifications are on to go to your phone. Right on. And thanks for getting notified. That makes me feel good about this channel. I do have my doubts here and there watching the charts and graphs. For instance, for a couple days now, I've been getting, for yesterday or the day before, 0 subscribers, and then yesterday, a -1. And at least every day I get at least 6 to 10. But yesterday and the day before were 0 and -1. Now, for an addict whose problem is thinking, I'm an alcoholic with a thinking problem, as we all are, mental obsession. Gabapentin is... I'm going to disagree with that, Michael. I almost OD'd on gabapentin. I was shaking like a stick. A leaf on a stick. Because, like I said, 2 of them felt great. My addict mind says 4, 6, and 8 will feel better. I don't know if it's a nerve healer. They gave it to me for alcohol withdrawal, and it worked, prevented seizures and general discomfort, but it also really made me comfortable, so I took 4 and then 6 and then 8. And then I don't know where it went from there. I stopped getting the high off of it and just was a shaky mess. I told my dad he needs to take the bottle because I'm just eating them like candy. Addiction, I don't know if addiction is the right word for some of the things you talk about, Copic. I'm not sure gabapentin. Now there's different nomenclature, there's different descriptions. There's addiction, there's habit forming, there's dependence. You know what I mean? I'm just a literal guy. Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. Neither of us know it all. Let's put it that way. Yeah, Kopik, I had the same experience with it, but I got off of it, with relative ease. The reason I kept going for it is because I have an obsession of the mind. If it feels good, I want to do it. I hope you're okay, Holly, and I hope you're taking your meds and eating. No, Kopik, it doesn't mean it's addictive. It means it activates your central nervous system, and without it, you withdraw from it. But addictive is a relative term. You can have withdrawals from caffeine, sugar. You can have emotional withdrawals when you break up with someone. You know what I mean? So all I'm saying is there's... Kopik, is that what it says on your addiction recovery channel? What's it say on your channel? Withdrawals does not... addiction and withdrawals, yeah, whatever, man. It's whatever. Yeah, it's sure, addictive. All I'm saying is there's different words that specifically are literally invented to describe different things and situations. Right on. Or you may find out a year from now that you were wrong. So all I'm saying is just, Right, but you know what I'm talking about. People say social media is addictive, and you don't even swallow it. So, whatever. I don't even know. I don't even know. I try to use the proper designators for different things, like dependence, habit forming, habitual, addiction. But whatever, I don't even know either, so it's pointless. Right, gabapentin might be physically addictive. I don't know. But it also might be... All I'm saying is I have doubts that either of us know how to scientifically classify these substances. And I am a grammar nerd. I know for a fact nicotine is physically addictive. It doesn't alter your mind. Alcohol is physically addictive, but it's also mentally habit forming, and you also become dependent upon its physical effects. Yes, you could say you're dependent on it. You're dependent to have that drug, or else you will shake and vomit. Or you are dependent upon it, or else you will shake and vomit. Spanking is addictive. What up, O-Dog? It's pointless because neither of us are scientists, and these words are very specifically, so you could, if we were both nerd scientists, we could go back and forth with evidence supporting our arguments. All I'm saying is there's a difference between physical addiction and mental addiction, and dependence and habitual, and also withdrawal. And in fact, I'm saying it's not very basic, dude. It's very complex. It's T-H-E-R-E. There is a difference, Copic. So, you know what I mean? All I'm saying is, when you do find out that you didn't necessarily know what you were talking about, you know, go easy on yourself. It happens. I'm straight saying I'm not sure. There isn't a basic understanding of addiction. In fact, it boggles people even when you explain it to them. It may be why you're not getting it. Yeah, sure, I've been sure of things too. And even, you know what I mean? It's T-H-E-R-E, not T-H-E-I-R. Copic, this is essentially what I'm saying about these words, addictive and, otherwise, is that there's different meanings. English language is one of the most complex in the world. You're spelling there wrong. You thought you knew how to spell there, and you're not spelling it right. You think you know what addiction means. You might be wrong. That's all I'm saying. But it's pointless because that's not the point we're talking about. It's just sublantics. This is just sublantics. Gauge. Isn't anything that releases dopamine technically addictive? I don't know why at one point I got in my head that some things are mentally addictive, some things are physically addictive, some things are habitual, some things are dependence forming. Yes, sure. And also that sounds very complex and it's not simple, so I don't really go into it. All I do know is that alcohol is addictive. And but here's the thing. Let me just put it this way. It's not simple. No, bro, I'm trying to state that I really don't know, and neither do you. Just give it to God, bro. No, it's not simple. That's why I spent your age dealing with it. How old are you, 27? I spent about 27 years dealing with addiction. So, thanks. Them's the facts. Let's see. No, Daniel knows everything, so, that's fine. Everything Daniel knows is correct. I mean, it's obvious that everything that Daniel thinks and knows is correct. He is the be-all, end-all of all knowledge. What he knows is correct. Me, on the other hand, I'm saying I don't know. I do know that nicotine is physically addictive. I do know that alcohol is physically addictive. I don't know if gabapentin is classified as an addictive substance. Hey Google, is gabapentin classified as an addictive substance?
My apologies, I don't understand.
Even Google doesn't understand. She said, my apologies, I don't understand. Oh, shit. Hey, you finally found your God. What up, O-Dog? The godly being is in O-Dog's house. What up? Right on, Dr. Daniel Kopic on mushrooms at the current time. Thank you for blessing us with your high knowledge. Pat Crawford, I'm meeting with my sponsor once a week now, my sober living home. Read the chapter. There is a solution. Hell yeah, the big book is amazing. Dog Mom 72, what up? Michael, 10 o'clock time for another gabagoo. Gabapentin? Oh, so Michael's on gabapentin. Tin it is then. Rin Tin Tin. Who was it that said they found their God? Rin Tin Tin Canine Cop. Wow, there's 23 of you on here. Thanks, guys. If you get some value from this program, seeing me argue with Daniel, hit a thumbs up. And I don't even know what the point is of arguing at all. The point is, I got high off of gabapentin and it made me shake and go crazy. But then again, I got high off of gasoline. Are you saying gasoline is addictive? Yeah, stop hanging out in the problem, Daniel. Right, I did take 8. I have an obsession of the mind and body. It's been simplified by the word alcoholism. I have a mental obsession with getting high and drunk. All right, everybody. I'm here at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every night with addiction recovery and everything in between. I don't know it all. I'm not a guru or an expert, but I will share my experience, strength, and hope. And I hope to see you tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you got some value out of this video, this live stream, or this channel, please give me a thumbs up. Consider joining the membership and helping me carry the message and pay for my internet bill. And until tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I love you. I love you, Daniel Kopic. I love Alex Patience. Glare Bear, what up? How you doing, Glare Bear? Damn, I hate to go. I'm not gonna go when there's 24 people. That's just not nice. I don't think. But I don't know. You better call it. Stephen Foss. It's a simple program for complicated people, but it's not easy. At that, I'll say, keep it clean, keep it real, keep doing the damn thing. Peace.